The best way to learn the foundations and develop skills for a person that is hard of hearing is to start with learning to lip read. It is a beneficial skill to have because it's a lifelong skill that will help them interact with people. There are also many rules and guidelines that go along with sign language, such as expression, non-manual signals, movement, handshake, location, and palm orientation. These rules are essential because they help define the differences between the signs and storytelling.
In my section of the PSA video, I will be talking about American Sign Language. The Communication Signs Disorders, or sometimes abbreviated as CSD, is where deaf people or hard of hearing go for the help on campus. American Sign Language is very beneficial to the deaf community. It is how most of them communicate, by using hand signals and body movements to sign the words with visual communication. Lip reading is a visual way for the deaf to understand what someone is saying by the way their mouth moves and the facial expressions. Hearing aids are small devices that you put in your ear to help amplify someone's voice. This device is for the people that are hard of hearing, not for the deaf. Cochlear implants, on the other hand, are for the deaf. Although they do not give you your hearing back, what they do is that it makes it easier to comprehend what people are saying. They work by mimicking cells within the ear to give a more clear sound than a hearing aid.
Go. Translators and interpreters are often confused with each other. Translators convert written text from one language to another. Interpreters convert verbal messages from one language to another. Most interpreters are also translators, and most translators are also interpreters. Healthcare interpreters are the preferred method of interpretation in healthcare. Healthcare interpreters convert verbal statements regarding health from one language to another. In a perfect world, only healthcare interpreters and translators would be used. Using family members or friends is not preferred and should be avoided unless the situation is dire. The patient's health privacy could be compromised. Loved ones may not fully understand the health problem well enough to translate, or may choose not to disclose certain information. Across the U.S., hospitals generally do not have enough healthcare interpreters or translators and are left to do so independently.
The section that I researched for this PSA and will be talking about are the aids and resources available to the deaf community. There are many ways that the deaf community has been accommodated so that they do not feel discriminated against and are included everywhere. There are many options for different assistive listening devices and systems such as cochlear implants and hearing aids. If the person that is hard of hearing chooses to become a part of the deaf community, there are people such as interpreters and translators which can sometimes be requested before a meeting or appointment. They specialize in helping the hard of hearing interpret what is happening. There are also assistance devices that can be put into place like closed and open captioning and visual alert systems. There are many accommodations put in place to make the deaf community feel involved and make sure they get the same care and treatment that people who are not hard of hearing get.
Cultural brokering is the acknowledgement of people or peoples in a certain group in the medical community.
Cultural brokering is also the understanding of traditional and original wellness and healing networks. For cultural brokering to work, it requires trust and respect between the patient and the health professional that is caring for the patient. It also requires the knowledge of the patient's values, beliefs, and health practices from the cultural group.
Whoa. You see what we did wrong? We did not ask for consent. It is important in the medical community that you acknowledge the person's needs and wants as a healthcare profession. Let's go back and retry that again. Do I have the consent to inspect you?
Yes.
Okay. You see, this is what you need in a medical healthcare setting.